Hello? Don't forget the sound. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks. And I hope we're going to be rocking out tonight with the topic, You, Me, and Putin. What drives us? And I am definitely hoping that some of you are going to talk on the chat and get really honest with yourself and me, because I think it's kind of an important topic. So, yeah, let's move that camera a little. Thank you. And this guy over here is
James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James, and I'm handling the chat tonight. Please chat with us, and I'll share the chat with Beth, and she'll talk directly to you.
So, tonight I want to talk about what drives us. Now, this is a pretty important topic, because we see people who do the most irrational things or mean things or things that hurt themselves, as well as other people, and they just seem to be driven. And I am too. For instance, you might be driven to be thin, and to the extent that you ruin your health, don't eat right? Starve, don't even recognize that you look like a scrawny thing. You know what I'm saying?
A twig.
A twig, exactly. So, or you might be driven to go to war and invade somebody. I mean, there are really big ways.
I'm not getting a live transmission.
I don't know why.
I've refreshed and it still doesn't show up. Oh, here we are.
Okay, very good.
We're very much alive and well after all.
Excellent, very good. Okay, so Sweet Baby James is manning the chat, humaning the chat, if you don't mind. And so please do chat. Give us your comments and your ideas. Ooh, I see somebody here already. And then
Cat sends a heart of love.
Then I can answer you
Back
right
at
on
you,
the
Cat.
air. All right.
And Todd says, it's working, you're live. Thank you,
Isn't
Todd.
that wild?
And Tracy says hello, and she sends a wave and a heart of love.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so there are so many things that I see driving us, peoples. And I want us to be looking at ourselves, too. So, a lot of people speculate on why people do things, and they try to find rational explanations for it. But our explanations are not always rational. Sometimes they are just like totally emotionally driven. And I have something that I particularly want to get to about what drives us today. But before I do, I want to talk about some of the other ideas that came to me about what drives us. So one thing that drives us is the need for safety. You know what I mean? Like, I'm scared to speak up, and so even though it makes me sick to swallow what I have to say, I'm afraid. And so in that case, I'm being driven by the need for safety. And, it's understandable, Supposing you're out in the woods and there's some brown bear coming after you. I mean, or cougar in our part of the country. Well, there's bear too. But anyway, so, your first thought is, get me out of here! Right, safety, right? You're not thinking, I think most people at least are not going to be saying, I think I'd like to take a photograph of this moment. They're going to say, let's get the hell out of Dodge, then we can take a photograph later. So anyway.
Or at least get a postcard with a bear on it.
That's right. So anyway, there's a lot of instinctive need for safety, and that is a major drive, right? I want to leave the war zone, right? Because I feel unsafe. And of course, I would say that I'm protecting my family. not you.
Not
It's
me.
all about, right.
I'm being heroic.
But on the other hand, you see people going out there in these motorcycles, right? Or race cars or something. They're not being driven by safety, are they?
No.
No, they are being, and I'm going to get to that in a minute. So, safety is not the biggest drive in everybody, anyway. And even then, perfectly normal people will get up and go to war to defend the homeland. And part of the drive for that is you don't want to be shamed in front of other people by looking like a coward. Oh, God forbid that you should look like a coward, that everybody knows that you're pissing in your pants when you're supposed to be looking like a hero. But I think there is also a drive in humanity to be noble, to do the right thing. I think that's there too, and that is a drive. Now, when I was a little girl, a million years ago, I used to watch the women putting on their makeup, or I saw the results. And stockings, I don't know if people even wear stockings anymore, but we had stockings and garter belts, and they were nylon, first silk, and then they were nylon. And we had stockings with seams that went down the back of your leg. And the whole day, all you could think about is, are my seams straight or are they crooked? I mean, it was so stupid. And then women have spent, I know some of you are going to be really mad when I say this, but I have to say it anyway, because safety is not my number one drive, right? And they would spend hours getting made up or doing their hair or sleeping on curlers or plucking their eyebrows or, ripping their, hair off their bodies or whatever it is. Are you kidding? That was a drive. And I always looked at that and said, are you crazy? I will avoid pain at any cost. And not only about pain, but I'm tired. I don't want to wake up 2 hours early to put on my makeup like some women do. Or they wear foundational garments, they were called. Bras and girdles that made you look like you had, two bayonets sticking out. Well, I grew up in the 50s. I was born in 1945. Yes, I know it seems impossible. That was 1945, not 24, and not 1845 either, just to be honest. So anyway, I looked at that, and then I saw women walking around in high-heeled shoes, and they were exhausted. And then I look at my mother. No matter what, no matter how she felt, she had to make the house perfect. What was driving that? You know what I mean? And that was at her expense, and that was at the expense of everybody, because she wasn't exactly available emotionally. She was busy trying to clean the oven with a toothpick every night, the stove with a toothpick every night. I mean, what for? But she was driven. So we know that there are all kinds of strange things that we get a lot of self-esteem out of and that we find ourselves driven to do. And that's so important, because we're driven to have self-esteem and to prove something about ourselves. Prove something about ourselves. Prove something about ourselves. Why do we always have to prove something about ourselves? Now, think about that one for a minute. What do you feel you have to prove about yourself? And then I'm going to get to the clincher thing in a second. Prove something about yourself. Prove something about yourself. I want to prove that I'm really a good person. So I will sacrifice all of my needs in order to prove that I am a truly noble person. So that goes to show you that there are drives that are even stronger than the drive for safety, Except maybe, when it gets right down to it, I might flee. I remember going to demonstrations against the Vietnam War, and I was an activist a lot in my youth of all different kinds of things. And now I didn't have to face the KGB. Oh, there's a guy.
Oh, Todd says, me too. I'm a good and caring person.
Yeah, prove something about yourself. I am a good and caring person.
Hey, Todd, you got me convinced.
Now, we could ask what's underneath that drive. Like, why is it so important to prove that you're a good and caring person? Well, that's a very interesting topic. A lot of times it's because we were angry at people around us who did not seem good or caring, and we have to be different. I have to prove that I am different from those creeps. Different from those creeps. Different from those creeps. Especially my parents. But some people, it's an older brother or a sibling or whatever that you're trying to prove that you're something better than they are. But you know what really hit me? And I could go on because there are so many things that can drive. Hunger can drive us,
The urge for power can drive us.
The urge from power. But here's the thing that popped into my head tonight that I would like to talk to you about a little bit more. And I want to get you more in the conversation. So thank you, Todd, for sharing yours. So honestly, it's the drive to win. Drive to win. Now, you see, this is like a big drive. Big. A big drive to win. Like what? I'm in class, and there's like 30 kids there, and I'm in the second grade. And the teacher asks a question, and I have, me, I know. I mean, isn't that really, in some ways, the drive to win admiration?
To be the best.
To be the best. To win. Not to compete, but to win. Now, look at sports, right?
Right.
They say, winning isn't everything. Oh, yeah, right. However, we notice that there is a huge emphasis on winning. Oh, who won the gold? Who won the gold? Who won the gold? Who won the gold? Who won the football game? Who won the science prize? Who won Daddy's affection? Who has won the heart of the homecoming queen in high school? Is that high school? They have homecoming
that's right.
things? Or who won the football game and the science prize? Who won the science prize? Who won the Chopin competition? I mean, who really cares who won second prize? It's like, oh, yeah, but who won? Who won? Who won the basketball game?
Who won the election?
Who won the election? Now you're cooking. Has anybody, let's say you're a Republican and you really like the politics of Donald Trump. Nevertheless, guys, come on, the dude lost the election. I know some of you maybe hate me for that, but he did. There's no credible evidence that he won the election. But he has to win. He just has to win. He has to win in business. He has to win personally. He has to win the election.
And he has to win every encounter.
Every encounter. Now, do you know anybody else like that? Now, look at me. Not in the look at me.
Look at me.
Look at me. I have to win the argument.
Oh.
Ooh. Anybody else out there need to win the argument?
Oh, I have that too.
Oh ho ho. Now what happens when you have two people who are trying to be married to each other, each one trying to win the argument?
You got problems. You got conflict.
You got conflicts. Lots conflict. Lots of conflict. Lots of conflict. Me, you, me, you, me, you, me, you. And sometimes we are competing for the same thing. Now, this thing, when you want to win an argument, it's like between us. But sometimes we're both vying for the same gal. Oh, she's so beautiful. She's so cool. She's so neat. I need to win her affection. Sometimes I don't even really know who she is, but I've got to win.
We've got a couple of comments here.
Ooh, good.
Tracy says, I like to win.
Oh, yay,
And
you.
Amy says, I definitely need to win the argument, not to mention prove to the other person just how wrong they are.
That's right. That is correct. This is so important. So now you've got Vladimir Putin, who is getting creamed. He has to win. He has to win. So how many Russian troops?
There were 190,000 before the war started.
Now, how many of them are dead? Right. Or wounded
Thousands.
or maimed?
Thousands are dead.
Right. But he has to win, right? He has to win. There's another.
Elizabeth says, I like to win. I too like to win.
I like that. See, because that was the thought that popped into my mind when I was getting ready for the show. I said, what is it that I see the most, I think, about that what drives us is the need to win. Win something.
Right.
Win the race.
I like to win at solitaire.
Me too. Me too. Win the race to space. Not get to space for some purpose. I'm not saying there isn't anybody who wants to get to space for some purpose, but a lot of people want to win that. Now let's look at that. Can you think of all the ways in which you want to win and that you see other people wanting to win? Just take a look. Oh, we need to win the time slot on the NBC TV this week, or cable news. Who won? Who won the time slot? Not who did the best reporting, not who's the most honest, not who is the most reliable. No, it's who won, who won, who won, who won. And it's like, oh no, I'm not winning. What am I going to do? How outrageous do I have to get in order to win, right? The beauty contest. What do I have to do to win? Win, 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 win. Hey, win! Isn't that what the kids say when?
Yeah, in the cheers, the rah, rah, rah.
Win, 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 win.
You can win, by golly, buckle down. And Amy says, does it start with being a kid who needs their parents' approval, not to mention the needs we have from them?
Well, there's a lot of truth to that, Amy, that we need to win our parents' approval in order to share unequitably in...
Especially if you have siblings.
Exactly.
You've got to win more attention.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I also have another thought about where winning starts.
Okay.
What is the opposite of winning?
Losing.
That's right. What does losing do? What does that make you?
A loser.
That's right, a loser. Oh my God, a loser. A loser. A loser. A loser. A loser. A loser. So what, right? What does it mean to us to be a loser? Think about that, guys, out there.
Well, you feel less than. You feel down.
That's right. You feel less than. You're going to lose respect.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to be dissed by people, held in contempt. You know, one of the worst feelings in the world is shame. And the other thing that really gets me is how embarrassment, the fear of being embarrassed, drives people, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, what does embarrassment mean anyway? Oh, there we go.
Elizabeth says, if I'm a loser, I'm weak.
Yes. Ooh, ooh, weak. And there is something to that that is visceral, because that goes back to,
She also adds, not enough.
yes. And being weak makes us unsafe.
Mm. Yeah.
So, you know, Amy made a great point about having to win whatever it is that our parents are doling at, but also being weak makes us vulnerable. I mean, don't we know if you happen to meet a cougar on the street, well, you don't want the cougar to think you're you're weak, because then they're going to attack you. So
Right.
you make yourself big, right? When you meet a bear, you make yourself. So
That ought to drive that bear away.
absolutely, I know it. I know it. I'm sure that the next time I meet a bear on the street, I'm just going to go, ooh, all 5
And
foot of me.
you're gonna make yourself 5.5 feet high.
Right. If I'm going to make myself 5'1", and then and 102 pounds, so that is really going to scare him off. So it's, you know, I can't protect myself if I am weak. And so we live in a society where we are afraid of one another, and so we have to constantly look strong. And it also, where we're competing for, you know, resources, going back to Amy's point. So we live in a society where we have to prove something about ourselves. We have to win that power thing, so that we are not weak, so that we're not dominated, so we're not abused. You know, a lot of us have seen this as children. Weak people get destroyed. Weak companies get eaten up by the big guys. Weak nations get overrun. Weaker partners in a relationship can get dominated. And it's not always physical weakness, you know, it can be mental weakness or emotional weakness. If I don't stand up for myself, that makes me weak. Right?
Yeah.
And then I'm more likely to be dominated and hurt and demolished and all of those things. So looking weak is really a bad thing. And winning is the way we show how strong we are. I hate it. I hate it. I don't want to have to win anymore. And I see it in myself. I want to win your vote. Do I want to win your vote because I really have something to contribute? Or do I want to win your vote because I want to win the popularity contest? Or I want to win some prize and can stand up in front of everybody. So if we have to win, that must mean on some levels, we either think we are losers or we're afraid to be seen as losers.
Mm.
I feel sorry for boys. There's a constant need to prove that you're a winner. But it's also true for women too. Just that women in my day, the way you proved you're a winner was to have a husband. Now, of course, you don't have to have a husband. You can be other, you can be, with another woman or alone or whatever it is. So I make myself look like a winner by having, quote, a husband, even if I don't like him, and by living up to a certain standard, which might not have anything to do with who I really am. Like, oh, and I have 2 children by the time I'm 23. Oh, yeah, that really makes you a winner, right? So I'm going to play the piano for a minute, and I would like you to contemplate what it is that you really feel deep down inside you have to win, and how is that driving you? Okay, I'm going to play the piano. And try to think about why you need to win in that arena. Where did that come from? Now I'm going to say something even more offensive.
Oh, yeah?
We are all losers. That's what I think. I think we're all losers.
And why is that?
Because we're all driven by unconscious drives that make us do stupid things to try to prove ourselves. And that is pretty loserish. And it looks like we have a comment.
Amy has one. She says, I have to win a man's affection without any strings or attention required of me.
Oh, yeah, that is a win. And, take a look at why that is. What do you... Otherwise, you're a loser, right? Where did that come from? So I can't answer all of this tonight on the show. By the way, I want to remind you that you are watching the Granny Rock Show. And we come back every Wednesday night. Like it or not. We are here in your face.
I have one.
Yes.
I feel a need to win the approval of others.
Yes.
Why? Because I feel inadequate, and this helps to shore up my sense of worth.
That's right. You can pretend that you really value yourself when you have other people who are admiring you.
That's right.
So wouldn't it be better to work on why you feel like a loser and having faith in yourself instead of putting your energy into winning? See what I'm saying? See, if we just get this, then we'll put our energy into really healing the parts of us that are driving this kind of stupid behavior. So I wanted to say to every woman that I saw putting on uncomfortable clothes or wearing makeup or, hurting her body in order to win the approval and admiration of other women as well as men, and say, look at it. Why? Why do you need to win that admiration? And Putin, why do you need to win that war? Boy, must feel pretty weak. So come back every Wednesday night for the Granny Rock Show, and you'll hear my commentary on whatever comes to me that night, and I'll play the piano for you. And on Thursday night, and that's at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, and on Thursday nights, we have another show called Beth Green's Magical Piano Improvisations. Thursday night at 7 p.m. And people tell me that they find the music relaxing, inspiring, and all of that good stuff. And that's a win for everybody, because I'm not winning over you, I'm winning with you.
Would you like to tell them about the new website as well? The Healing Arts Explosion?
Another win-win. The Healing Arts Explosion is alive and kicking. HealingArtsExplosion.com. I have the website URL in the post. It has like 6.5 hours of music that I improvised in order to help people to heal on every level, and it looks like it's helping people. So I'll tell you more about that at another time, but it's very powerful music, and I have a big piano now. So we're even up to series 4. I did a video called Ukraine, Confronting Brutality and Finding Strength. We need inner strength, guys. We don't need wins. That's the biggest win of all, to gain inner strength. So that is on my Facebook page, and we've got...
Oh, Don says, love the new piano. He sends a couple of hearts of love. And Don, this is a concert grand piano.
I think he knows
9
that.
foot long.
Yeah,
And,
9 foot long.
It's just awesome sound.
It's twice
Awesome
my
sound.
size. I love this piano. I am so glad that you do too. I love the sound. It really comes across not because I want to win the biggest piano in the state competition, but because I want to win the hearts and minds of human beings who are suffering. So come back and join us again soon. Give us your comments. Share the show. I'm sure you know other people who are sort of stuck on the need to win. Like, love, comment. Even after the show, I will respond to your comments. And come back soon.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.